everyone, welcome to Chit Chat Diaries, and we are live once again. And today's topic is really interesting. It's called Mind Mastery, where we learn not just about the inner workings of the mind, but we are also going to learn yogic approaches to master it. And like I always say, our brain is like a supercomputer. Whatever data we feed it, it will follow. Similarly, our mind is the instrument that we have to use to get the best results in life. So today I have invited a very special guest, and the special guest is Miss Shilpi Daya Atri. And Shilpi is not just a wellness and transformational coach, but she's also an image consultant, and she's also the lady who has represented Singapore in Mrs. Globe in 2016. So without wasting any further time, I am going to get Shilpi right here.
Hi, Al. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Great.
We have you live.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just like learning how to use gadgets, basically.
I know. I had the same challenge because I think this is the third time that I'm coming live, and I remember the first time it was scary because I think we are getting used to the new normal, and for some of us, I think we know technology, but there's so much more to explore still. So yeah, it can definitely work wonders to your mind, going through that process.
I think very well said. We are all getting used to, and for me, I think starting sessions on Zoom live and doing yoga live is just like too much to handle. And I just wonder, going back in time, I used to wonder. I used to tell my parents, because I'm the youngest child, that why are you such old school? Start adapting to the new environment, and look where we are today. It's so difficult to adapt to this new world, virtual world, I would say. Getting that human to human connection, it's so difficult to find these days. But we are all accepting, and it's a journey.
Yeah. And I guess you mentioned about human connections, and I think my personal learning was really to connect to humans in this new way. Because I always thought that, physical connection is a human connection that I'm used to. That's the right way to do things. But I guess narratives are changing now.
Yes, and I would say we are blessed, to have technology in our life, and we have to just pivot towards each other, I would say, because if this would not be part of our life, then I think a lot of people would be depressed, and because we all need human to human connection, and this is what we are, trying to build. And yes.
So yeah, absolutely grateful. And you know what, Shilpi, before we go into talking about your journey and how the yoga approach has helped you, let's also talk a little bit about this trying times that people are going through, because it really does impact us emotionally, mentally, and physically at times as well. And I've heard you speak about this a lot, the inner works of the mind. So can we just start off by understanding first, how this mind works, what really goes inside? So Shilpi, yeah, let's just start off by really understanding the inner works of the mind, and you do it beautifully. So please go ahead.
Okay, so the mind, how technically it works is basically, as you all see, there is something like new coming up every day. We are all getting used to of this new world, and previously at first our mind doesn't accept it, because we are not used to of accepting change instantly. And mind is always worried about, when we meet someone, we always think of it as a friend or an enemy, right? Or is it worth meeting this person? Mind is always very cautious. Similar to that situation, I think our mind also receives every situation, whether it's a friendly situation or is it a threat, what will happen next. And because of the continuous changes, so much happening around, there is social media, there is so much noise around, the mind is constantly, facing this trouble and not being able to accept the changes easily. So what really happens when there are changes? We have this thought process that just come, what is this? How will I make this work? Even coming on live, so there is like so many thought process goes before. What if there is a technical snag? And what really happens? We have these two glands on our kidney. It's called adrenal cortex. So from that, it releases this cortisol. It's a hormone that is basically an essential hormone for our body, because it creates fight, flight, or freeze mode for us, because this is like a survival instinct that we have. Otherwise we would not be able to survive. If you see suddenly a snake drop on your head,
Yeah.
you have to immediately react. Although we do have a muscle memory that instantly react, but it also comes from cortisol. With the constant changes, with constantly what is happening around us, so these cortisols are increasing. Like if you receive a call in the middle of the night, right, from your loved ones, and you miss that call, just think about it. When you see that missed call, what would you think? While even dialing that 5 second of your life, would you think that, oh, there is everything is okay, no problem? Or would you think negatively that, oh my God, there is something that has happened? Within that fraction of like 5 seconds, it happens that, your body start to release cortisol. And with constant release every day, we are having negative thoughts sometime, or even fearful thoughts. So our brain size starts to shrink, and it stops to form synaptic connection. And that's why people nowadays are suffering from more anxiety, depression, because of release of these hormones. So we have to focus on how do we control these cortisols in our body, and how do we create happy hormones like dopamine, oxytocin. When you see your loved one, when you hug them, right? Or when you see a child or your parents or even your dog or your pet, and when you hug them, there is a feeling of oxytocin and dopamine. And if you just notice what are those moments that actually creates these hormones versus the fear hormone cortisol, then we start to react differently.
Right. And I can really see how it works out practically, because, I've noticed that, since this entire lockdown and the travel situation has started, I have started to instinctively, without thinking, give more hugs to my mom than I used to. And I'm like, I was trying to reflect, why am I doing more of that? So I think you kind of answered my question, so my brain or my body is automatically kind of giving me signals to engage in activities that will help me to relieve these.
Yes, and that is, if we all of us, we focus on what is actually that gives us dopamine, what is actually those things that we do that create oxytocin in our body, and reduce the factor that creates cortisols, reduce the factor that creates adrenaline is also a stress hormone, because it actually preps our brain and our body to react. These are good hormones. I mean, these are essential hormones, but we are using it too much. So we need to reduce the usage of these hormones.
And I guess I read somewhere that, if we overuse these hormones, it also kind of leads to weight gain. I mean, we are not touching on weight gain today, but that is something that I realized. And I guess that's where when we say, oh, my weight gain is because of emotional factors or stress, I guess that is what is happening. So yeah, we do need them, but not in so much of quantity, in the right quantity and amount. So I guess
I would say that happens, Payal, because it does impact our thyroid hormones, which is here. So yoga actually helps a lot in, because more than 10,000 years of research on human body, thought process, mind. So everything is written down there with one thought, with these hormones. What are glands that are activated, stimulated, and how does it work on your body? So weight gain is one of the part that actually just your thyroid gland stops stimulating, enough. And that's why you start either putting on weight or losing weight. So there are two types of that. Yes.
And I see some comments right here, including one from Shivani. It says Shine with Shivani. So Shivani is also a yoga teacher, just like Shilpi.
Hi, Shivani.
And she's giving her acknowledgement to say that yes, 100% that's true, what we're talking about. And we're all excited to, really talk about your journey. And Momita says hi. So hi, Momita. Lovely seeing you here. So I guess, so let's just dive in, to really make sense of all these things, and especially the yogic approach, because Shilpi, your journey has been dynamic, it's been rewarding, but at the same time, it has taken a lot of toll on you mentally, emotionally, and even physically. But then you always talk about the yogic approach or your yoga journey, that has helped you to battle all of these. So tell us a little bit about that. How did that work out?
Well, yeah, Payal, in 2013, I was working with an airline, and I would say that, because of the work schedule, there was nothing, there was no loved ones around, and my schedule was just work and then home, work, home. So there was no human connection. And I wasn't really enjoying that work. And I would say, with the continuous stress or eating habits, at a very early stage in 2013, I was diagnosed with cancer, and it just came out of nowhere. I didn't have any history of having cancer in my family, so it came like a shock to me. So and I wasn't really prepared because I was quite young, and this happened when I was in a completely denial stage. So there are 5 stages of grief, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
First, it's the denial. Then I went into the anger mode. Then I started bargaining that I wasn't this much sad in my life, or I did not like really did not take care of myself. I was sleeping, and then started to fall into depression when I heard that news.
Right.
And then I was like, then I moved to the acceptance. So we all go through that 5 stages. But at that time, when I got this news that I'm having, cancer, I just thought that, I have always been an aspirational woman in my life. I always want to build my own life. And suddenly, all those goals just seem to be disappearing because I didn't see my life beyond that. And neither doctors actually told me that, how much longer I'm going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
So all those questions within a fraction of second, I just thought that life is so fragile, and the
Mm-hmm.
things that we are attaching ourselves to our goals, and the things that I was complaining in my life regarding my job, regarding, parents not being around, I don't have genuine friends, all those questions and complaints felt so small when something such big came in front of me.
Yeah.
And then at that time, those things came like, a mountain in front of me, that these are the mountains I'll never be able to cross.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
suddenly there is this light comes in front of me which says it's a full stop. It's over. So I can't even complain to my parents or to my job that
Yeah.
why you are not nice to me, why my colleagues are not nice to me, why am I not enjoying? Because now there is no point. So I felt like, life is just like a 30 minutes game. I was 29, 30 years at that time. And I just said that, so that means life is it just a 30 minutes game? And then if it is 30 minutes game, then I really did not play it well. But God did give me a second lease of life, and I really felt that, it's nothing about the destination. We are complaining about the things. Probably if we see something else, that is bigger, it's all about comparison.
Right.
So nothing is really so big that you can't handle. As long
Yeah.
as you have this body, you have a positive mind, you can come across, you can overcome any challenges. And yoga teaches us the science and techniques how to do this, because it's not easy to think positively in life.
Yeah. And that's
Right?
that's what I was going to ask you, because you mentioned about, like, you have to have a positive mind. And I think a lot of people, when they hear the word you have to have a positive mindset or a positive mind, they are like, are you crazy? I'm in this terrible, terrible situation and you're asking me to be positive. I mean, I agree that it's, almost ridiculous to just say, oh, switch, from this
Yeah.
depressive mode, you just have to be happy, and that's not even healthy. So what did you do, through yoga or any other methods that helped you to master this mind from that state of I've lost everything to, hey, look, I still can do something? So how did you do that?
So firstly, we have to understand, and it's written in the Vedas as well, and yoga teaches that the science of detachment.
Right.
That is so important. We are always very attached either to our goals, or we are attached to ourselves that, what about my happiness, my this is mine. So yoga teaches you that if you learn how to detach yourself and learn to enjoy this journey,
Mm,
then that is the first hurdle you cross. Anything that gives you pain or pleasure,
right.
exactly, a lot of pain and pleasure, you should not be connected to it, because everything is temporary in this world. Neither pain is permanent, neither pleasure is permanent.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you learn to accept thing as it is, then that is the first thing you actually win that battle. The
Mm-hmm.
second thing that how to detach yourself. If first thing you need to do is first you need to recognize that what exactly is giving me stress. What
Mm-hmm.
exactly is creating me, creating these cortisols in my body. So
Right.
once you recognize that, you have to master your breathing patterns then. Because
Breathing
that is
pattern.
the
Okay.
yes, that is the second technique. So what really happens when we are stressed, right? So what we do is immediately we're like, you something that shocks you, your
Yes.
breathing stops.
Right.
And if you see something, yeah, that is you are very relaxed. You're like, oh my God, that's so cool, right? So you
Mhm.
just immediately have a nice deep breath, and your brain automatically relax. So
Yeah.
your breath is connecting your mind and body. So this is a bridge.
Yeah, and I think
Okay.
that that's a really beautiful point that the ones watching should really take note of. It's like a knowledge that a lot of us do not know of, although it's been existing for so long, that our breath is not just connected to giving life, to our body, but it's also the emotions and your mind, so it's interlinked. So tell us more,
Yeah.
Shruti, because this is getting very interesting.
So first thing is first you need to detach. You need to accept what is the problem, and problem and solutions are, just a matter of comparison. Right now you
Right.
see, like I said, life is a game, right? We
Mm-hmm.
all are playing our own game.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever situation you are in probably is just one of the stage you are at. So take it
Mm-hmm.
as a game. Secondly, detach yourself in the situation. Don't get yourself emotionally involved,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if something really gives you stress, then try to control your breathing, right? So breathing, when I say you have to first focus only on deep breathing, so you have to train your mind every day, at least for 5 minutes,
Right.
to breathe deeply. So if you do this exercise, let's say, let's all of us, let's
Yes.
do this.
Yes.
Just
Let's
sit
let's just do it
comfortably.
together.
Yes, so let's begin. All right.
Yes.
So sit down comfortably, close your eyes, and completely, forget about what is happening around you. Just be present here with yourself, with your body, and with your breath. And take a deep inhalation. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly and completely. You need to take all the breath, all the air out of your system. Take 5 deep breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale, exhale. So, how does that make you feel, Payal?
Well, honestly, all the questions I had in mind, they kind of disappeared for that moment, because there was a lot of clearing that I felt and sensed in my body. Like it's surprising because it's just 3 or 4 deep breaths that we are taking, and rather than just thinking about so many other things, when you just focus on your breath, I just felt a difference in just these few seconds. So that was really calm
Absolutely.
and peaceful, actually.
Yes, and yeah, it is such a simple technique, right? And
Yeah.
but if we learn how to do it, and but it is the most powerful technique.
Yeah.
That once you just focus on your breath, and this is what meditation teaches. They don't say that just shut your thoughts. If you start focusing on your breath, that is the biggest meditation you can do if you're a beginner, right?
Yeah.
And then the thoughts will be controlled automatically. So first, let's start with breath. So it
Yeah.
is like, so much happening around your house, right? Let's say there is a riot going on outside your condo, right? What you will do, you will come inside, you close your window, you close your doors, and you shut the doors, right? So this is what the breath also in yoga teaches. So in order for you to, whatever is going outside externally, you have to make sure that you don't bring that problem internally, right? And you just have to shut out
Yeah.
completely. And breath is that tool that will connect you, your mind, and everything. There will be a stillness.
Yes.
And you have to feel that stillness. And that is called training your mind how to breathe even in difficult situations.
Right.
So that's what we call it like pranayama. And there are different pranayama techniques which is shared, in Vedas and Upanishads, that it is not right. All the practice is good for you.
Okay.
Individual
That's
practices,
interesting.
yeah, so if someone wants to know what is the right practice for them, for their body type, for their mind, they can connect with me later. I can explain to them what is the right practice for them. Like for someone who has high blood pressure, they should not be doing kapalbhati, just like
Okay.
bringing them. Yes, it is not really advisable to do that because
Right.
otherwise heart start pumping the blood even more. Right,
Right.
rather than we even suggest them to do cooling pranayama, which is only your left nostril breathing. If you do
Right.
left nostril breathing, your blood pressure will start coming normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, there are many techniques actually it is taught in yoga, and I would say one of the techniques I'm going to explain today is basically how I control my mind because I
Right.
come from India and I'm
Mm-hmm.
a giant girl. My father was a businessman and my mother was in politics. So I have this, angry giant girl kind of blood
Yes.
in me, right?
Yeah.
And so how do I control myself? It's just by doing this practice that I'm going to share with you now. It's going to completely shut me, in
Right.
difficult situations, and I don't react. My reaction time
Right.
actually has gone much lower. Previously, anything happens to me, and this is with all of us, that anything that goes wrong or suddenly happens, we immediately react,
Yeah.
right? And it comes from, I would say, my programming when I was young, and it always comes from, how you've been raised and brought up,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the basic functional programming. And if we understand what's in our DNA,
Right.
how our behavior, how everything around us triggers, because what trigger me would
Right.
be very different than what triggers you,
Absolutely.
right? So it all comes from the experiences, what we
Yeah.
have seen in our childhood. I have hydrophobia, like I'm scared of water. Because
Right.
when I was young, my dad threw me in a pool,
That's
right?
where it
So,
stuck got stuck there.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So I have to now tell my mind that, there is nothing wrong. So it's like consciously I have to train myself that
Right.
that episode is over and it's
Yeah.
not going to come back again.
Yeah.
And if anything bad memory or any phobia or fear we have to understand that is not going to happen again
Yeah.
and that doesn't define our life.
Yeah. And I
So
think
that's
talking
going to be
about,
that.
because we spoke about the two concepts, we spoke about detachment and then we spoke about the breath work, So I think commonly the question that gets asked is, okay, I know that we need to detach, but, how do we really detach? So, like I always tell people that, hey, look, in order to detach, if you start thinking about it like, oh, I need to detach from XYZ, you're still attaching yourself to XYZ. So one technique that has always worked for me or my clients, when I speak to them, is that you have a look at that entire incident or that worry that's bothering you, like a movie, or the ones who watch cricket, if you're a cricket lover, you know that, there is a concept of third umpire. So a third umpire is someone who is not in the game, but watching the game like from the outside. So you just look at, you imagine like a screen in front of you where you play that entire episode or that thing that's bothering you and just detach yourself and realize that, hey, look, that's not me. And then once you do that, you can write about it, write that entire incident, and just get it out of your system. Because if you keep holding that inside of you, no matter what you do, it's like the poison is still in there. But the moment you
Yes,
get it out on paper and you just like throw it away completely, that's when you start to take the first step to detachment. It's not going to make you detach completely. If you just write something down, it's not the final step, but that's the first and most important step, after which the things that you explained about the breathing patterns and helping us to clear our minds and get that clarity to move ahead is going to be even more effective.
yes. I would say yes, very well said, Payal. Whenever we are attached to something and that generally tap into the emotional side of us, right? First we see, then it generates emotion. And I always tell everyone that emotions are like prisoners, especially the negative ones. They want to get out of your system. And if you keep, just keeping those in negative emotion inside you, it's like a pressure cooker.
Yes.
You know, it's going to burst. Someone just going to just touch it and you are going to burst for sure. So it is the first thing is definitely the acceptance.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, in the 5 stages of grief, you need to first, if you start from the acceptance part, instantly, you're going to actually enjoy your journey even more.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So whatever is happening, first you need to accept what is happening. You know, accept that emotion and then release. Everyone has a different way of releasing emotion. Some people they do by talking to someone or crying or even meditation or workout. So we all need to first figure it out. What is the mode that we can actually release our emotion? For me, it's like meditate, and then I go for a good walk in nature, and this is how I actually rejuvenate myself and release my negative emotions. And I have seen people, there are some people who cry a lot when they watch the movie. And for some people, they don't really cry after watching the same movie. But I see there is one pattern because the emotions that are basically installed in them, the negative, they are trying to release after watching that movie, and they feel very light. You know, after releasing those tears, they feel very light. So understand that emotions are prisoners, so let them go and acknowledge them.
And tears are like the salt water that's like present in you that cleanses your system, you know. So if that's the case, if that makes you feel good, why not? You know, you just let it flow, you know, you get cleansed anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. So I guess Shilpi, now all of us are like waiting to, you know, get that experience of the technique you're gonna teach us today, because, you know, we promised them that, hey, look, you know, we're gonna give you a technique you can walk away and utilize it to, you know, start calming your mind. So okay, I just got a comment from Momita. She said, you just mentioned mind, workout. Yes, that's right. So workout is another way to sweat it out, you know, sweat out the unwanted emotions that we have. So great.
Yes.
So going ahead from there, you know, if let's say like workouts make you happy, you do that, you know, and you already release all of that. So as a next step, if we want to do like a quick breath work, because, you know, for starters, for beginners, they may not have the time to, you know, sit down for probably half an hour or an hour of meditation or breath work in order to release all these unwanted thoughts and emotions. So what is that one quick technique that you are going to teach us today? You know, I'm very excited for it. So.
Sure. So I would say this technique has helped me a lot because I have zero tolerance for something that is not tolerated, you know, around me. And I try. Previously, I was reacting very quickly. So, but now I consciously make effort that whenever I have these bursts of emotions come, first I just close my eyes or I find a space where I can sit alone. You know, there is no one around me, and then you have to sit in Shashankasana, or we call it extended child pose. I would say this is the pose, right? And you just lie down in this pose and take a deep inhalation and touch your tongue on the palate, and then close your mouth, and then you have to chant more chanting, like M, the word M. It creates a vibration. It's actually the word A-O-M, which is the Om word. It actually stimulates your head, your head region, right? So all your glands, which is like, you know, hippocampus, your hypothalamus, your amygdala inside, yeah, they get stimulated with this Ma chanting. So and I have experienced people who are going through a lot of stress in life. When they do this asana, they do this Brahmari chanting, we call it humming bee, right, pranayama, they experience there is like a ball which is, you know, coming up. They can visualize that ball, and they freak out. So I would say if you are experiencing this kind of ball, it's an illusion. It is probably the energy that is trapped inside here. Don't freak out. Get up again, take a deep breath, and relax yourself and start again with this Brahmi chanting. And if you're sitting and you cannot lie down, so now we're going to do how do we do this practice? Just sit on your chair comfortably, all right?
So, sorry to interrupt. So in this case, what you're also trying to say that this practice you're going to teach us is something that people can do even when they're in office. You know, you don't have to lie down in the child pose or extended child pose to do that. You can actually just take probably a minute or two out, and they can still do it at work, and it will still be effective.
Yes, yeah, but make sure because it's a chanting of chanting, people would
Right,
say that you are gone crazy. So
right.
make sure there is no one around. Otherwise,
Or you
if
have
you're
your own
comfortable
cabin.
doing, yes, if you're comfortable doing in front of people, that's kudos to you. I mean, I won't be comfortable, so that's why I find my own space, right?
Yes.
You can even use the toilet or your own space and then do this chanting. So
Right.
basically, what you have to do is sit comfortably with your neck and head in line, and then you close your ear with your thumb, and then
Okay.
you put your fingers on your eyes very gently. You don't have to really put pressure on your eyes, but close your earlobe with your thumb and touch your palate with your tongue. Close your mouth and do. So this is a practice whenever you feel heightened emotions. It will instantly create stimulation in your brains and
Right.
vibrations. And these are the
Right.
techniques followed by many people in ancient times. And it definitely reduces depression, anxiety issues, and it enhances even your memory. So we have
Okay.
now we get this. Yeah. So your memory is definitely going to improve by doing this regular practice of Brahmari chanting,
And
and you
how
will
many
be much
times do we do
relieved.
this? Because we kind of did it twice. So, what is your recommended number of times that we do the Brahmari chanting, and what time of the day is best?
See, the best time is definitely morning, once
Hmm.
after you wake up, right? And if you want to do it at night before going off to sleep. But I would say that do the breathing exercise, which is the yogic breathing, completely breathing, which starts from your abdominal breathing and then chest and then clavicular, right? A full one breath. If you do this 9 to 12 times, I think that is just enough for a beginner,
Okay.
right? And yes, but constant practice, you will see there are so many changes, the way you talk, the way
Right.
you think, the way people around you, you will see there are difference, that has started to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
it just, I don't say big things make big changes. It's
Right.
small things in life that makes bigger changes. And 5 minutes for us for doing this practice wouldn't really cost a lot.
Yeah. So would I be right to say that for anyone watching and trying to implement this for the first time to achieve their mind mastery, or all the wonderful changes that you were talking about, could they set a practice to say starting tomorrow they wake up in the morning, do about 9 primary chantings, and then
Yes.
once they do that, they get off the bed and start the rest of the rituals. Would that be the best way to start off?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean that really works. There are a lot of pranayama practice and breathing practices that actually instantly prepare your body. If you are an active person and you are a lazy person in the morning, right? You just don't want to get up and your body
Right.
doesn't like kickstart. I always recommend do Kapalbhati for those people because it will
Okay.
just generate energy in your body that you really want to do more.
Yes.
And it prepares, and yeah, you won't feel lazy anymore when you do these practices.
So this practice that we did today is more to do with clarity of mind and mastering your mind. That's the best use of this practice.
Yes, whenever you are stressed or you're experiencing heightened emotion, you're
Right.
not being able to get clarity in life, right? Do this practice, Brahmi chanting, and then just do yogic breathing at least for 9 times. And you
Mm-hmm.
will see, your neurons is completely like relaxed, and
Right.
then you'll be able to think through because, emotions form a cloud in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we are not being able to see through those clouds that what exactly after beyond this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have to calm your mind because that's the only thing you can do,
Yes.
in order to progress in your life. And
So
body
five
is
minutes
the
is all
only
it takes.
thing. Yes, I mean it takes 5 minutes, and if you do it at night before going off to sleep, It also says that it actually stimulates your pineal gland, which actually, yes, that makes you sleep at night. You sleep better.
Right. So you can do it before going to sleep if you want to have a good sleep or having issues with sleeping. And if you want thought clarity, you can do it early in the morning as soon as you wake up. So you can choose what works best for you, I guess.
Yes. And one more thing, if people are, they experience stress, a lot of things are going on in their mind. I mean, this works best for me. I do these practice before going off to sleep, and I listen to the best music, that my favorite music, at least one song.
Right.
That instantly switched my mind, and always imagine, don't stop dreaming, always dream of the beautiful things that you can actually, you can't achieve probably in this world. You cannot travel right now,
Yeah.
but in your mind you can actually travel with your thoughts. So I would say just travel wherever you want to do before you go off to sleep, and you'll see good dreams as well, and you will be relaxed. When you wake up with a beautiful smile.
Wonderful. And I think that's absolutely what all of us want. And I guess, Shilpi, thank you so much for sharing so much with us today, especially this powerful technique, which is really quick, and all it takes is 5 minutes. So thank you so much for doing that. But at the same time, I understand that there's a lot more that people can learn from pranayama. And as mentioned by you, you are able to also guide them for their specific matters or issue that they come from, right? So in that case, if anybody wants to reach out to you, Shilpi, to find out more about what is the right technique for them, how can they do that? How can they connect with you?
You can write to me on my email address, or you can send a message on my Instagram, and I will address all your questions, and I'll see how I can help you the best way.
Great,
Hi,
great.
Pranaji.
Great.
Yeah.
So we can start off by either they can do a Instagram DM, and if not, then you mentioned it's an email. And what would your email address be? The best way to reach out by email?
Yes, they can write to me at shilpidahia18@gmail.com.
Okay, noted. And
Yeah.
for the audience sake, not to worry, I will put it down again in the comments. So in case you are wondering what that was or you didn't catch it, not to worry. I will put it down one more time in the comments once I publish this. Again,
Great.
there are a lot of messages here from Seema Chopra, who says, great going, Shilpi. Good reminder to focus on our breath. Yes, we must remember to breathe. And Momita, she says, had a lovely time listening to you guys. Momita, we had a lovely time having you here and seeing your comments. And
Absolutely.
yeah, we have some hearts going on here as well. So great, Shilpi.
Great.
Thank you so much. And especially for making me do the breathing, because I feel calmer than I was before. Like we always feel that, hey, I'm calm and peaceful. But the moment you do the breathing, you realize, oh, there's so much more to this calmness, that you can experience. So highly recommend for everybody to do this as well. And one more time, Shilpi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Payal, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And stay happy, stay blessed, because this life is still very beautiful.
It is.
And yeah, you can create magic, because we all are very important. We are an important part of this world.
Yes, absolutely. Great. So thank you, Shilpi, and thank you so much for the ones watching for joining us. And Sharmika says, wonderful Brahmi technique. You're most welcome, and do continue to apply it, guys. Yeah, because we can give you all the techniques that we can, but if you don't apply it, it's just gonna remain a technique. So please do it, and we will see you again in our next live. So thank you very much, and Shilpi, have a good day, have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful Saturday.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye. Take care.